You're introing, yeah?
Nah, not after last week. No.
What do you mean?
No.
Come on.
No.
Please.
No.
You just have to stick the G'day Battles bit at the start, and then you just do the rest. And
no. I'm done.
Done. Oh, Debbie. It was only one time. We've got years of this podcast to go. There's got to be more.
Years of my life.
Years. So there's got to be more Debbie intros, surely. If you're worried, you better get it in now when there's fewer people listening, because 2 years time, it's going to be millions.
2 years time.
so really, you'd probably best do it now, I think.
No.
G'day Battlers, welcome to the G'day Battlers podcast. I mean, you've already listened to a minute of it now, I guess. But anyway, hi, I'm PvP Steve.
And I'm Debbie Pebble, and welcome to today's podcast.
Yeah, episode 9. We're still coming out of the sort of what are we doing phase bit of it when we had the 4-episode Road to Worlds, then we came back for Worlds, and then we came back for OCIC, and then we came back 3 weeks ago now. We didn't really have a schedule, but maybe we will now. Who's to say?
Is that thrown to me right now? Because I don't know.
I don't know. I thought maybe you had an idea.
Who's making these decisions? I had 2-year commitment, and I was already like, oh.
This is a 10-year commitment. I just assumed we sort of pass everything back to admin, and then admin will let us know.
Gosh.
The CEO and whatnot, they'll sort us out.
I'm gonna have to rewrite this contract.
Yeah. I mean, I threw mine out. It was on the back of a napkin, and I just lost it. So,
was it a Wendy's napkin with YACOBERVITCH's name on it?
Yeah, it did. Speaking of, YACOBERVITCH will be our guest today. He's in the title. We've brought him on for an important interview, but we'll get back to that a little bit later because, I mean, I guess the topic of the day is that we have just had another regional pass through. I think that this will probably come out like midweeky, so it probably is only the only regional that has happened since the last episode. But the Curitiba Regional over in Brazil, the first regional of the Latin American circuit. So we've had one in the US, one in Europe, and now one in Latin America as well. And I mean, for one, some phenomenal battles and also some still like relatively spicy picks in the sort of top 8 as well. But the sort of the headline, not to skip around, is that LNDS Rajaf, who took out the tournament, took it out in quite a dominant fashion, Debbie.
So dominant that now has the best win rate in the entire Play Pokemon series that has ever had, just as has ever, and managed to do it in style and securing that 100% win rate.
Yeah, so it's not only the highest that has ever been achieved up to now, it is literally the highest you can possibly achieve. So like from here on out, it's just going to be if anyone can match that. And so the sort of permanently in the history books after going on an 18-0 sweep, winning every single set 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. I lost count. There ends up being a 3-0 somewhere because it ends up going to the best of 5 in the finals and took that out with a full sweep as well. Just completely unstoppable. And with Superior on the team as well, which we sort of mentioned last time as sort of a Pokemon that sort of seemed to be popping its head up a little bit. And I think that it was the one of only 2 Superiors in the top 8. Or maybe, actually, I think I'm wrong. I think there might have been 3. Yeah, there were 3, I think. Maybe even more. I don't know. I'm not very good at counting, guys. It's
I believe there was 4, so 50% of the top 8.
It goes up every sentence. If we keep talking, it's about to be 5.
It's like a Hydro, just keep growing more heads.
I mean, I guess you've really got that snake vibe going. But regardless, you're running that Frenzy Plant for all the Lanturns running around, and the Swampets as well. There was sort of a fair few of in the top 8 as well. You have the Aerial Ace to throw at the Metachams that is just continuing to be the most dominant force in the play Pokemon circuit on LNDS Raj's team as well, alongside Pelipper, a Shadow, a Alolan Sandslash, a Swampert, and an Umbreon. So sort of a bit of a balance there between some bulky Pokemon in like the Metacham, the Umbreon, and the Superior, I suppose, and a little bit more of that frail side with the Alolan Sandslash, Shadow Alolan Sandslash, and also the Pelipper for the sort of big nuki hits, but can't take a lot of hits. So yeah, massive shout out there. But we did have some other sort of, I guess, one pick in particular that really stands out to me in the top 8 as something a little bit extra special. I don't know if you thought the same, Debbie.
I'm unsure which one you're thinking is a bit special. All Pokemon are special to me.
Okay, fair enough. Good answer. I was talking about one particular frog Pokemon on Paulinho Tad's team, who, well, alongside some like relatively spicy picks in there with like I guess it's not super spicy, but sort of I guess more outer meta, like the Shadow Dragonite that we saw a little bit in the last episode as well. Cresselia, the only top 8 Cresselia in their team. They're running Defense Deoxys, Lickitung Core as well alongside Superior. But the 6th Pokemon on their team was Greninja, which I thought was pretty sick because you've obviously got that Water Shuriken with the fast charging energy, like crazy fast charging energy. And then, I mean, it's the fastest Hydro Cannon activation in the game. And so in a meta where almost every other team was running a grass type, whether it was the Superior or the Venusaur, which is on 3 of the other teams in the top 8, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's certainly different and something that we haven't seen really being brought into, especially a top 8 as well. And yeah, it's always nice to have something spicy. When you were talking about frogs, I was a bit confused because I was like, okay, Venusaur is technically a frog. Swampert is technically a frog. What's the other frog I'm missing?
Yeah, you know what? There are a lot of frogs in the starter lineup, so I'm not sure what they've got. I mean, and I'm not going against Team Frog here, by the way. Happy card carrying member of Team Frog, but they do seem to have gone hard in that direction. But Greninja is a little one sort of sneakily hiding away. It is a bit of a ninja, so it can just blend in a little bit and hide. But
that's why I missed it.
That's the reason.
Yeah, let's roll with that.
Lock it in.
It did very well.
Yeah. But got into top 6, and then you also have like you've got access to Night Slash to hit the Defense Deoxys that are running around. Still popularized by Wadage, I would say. Coming through from the first regional of the North American circuit, but then you also had a couple of Frostlasses running around. I think there were 2 Frostlass in the top 8, so it was sort of like a little bit like not super duper spicy meta. But I think that it's still really fresh with the new move updates. Like, we're a month in. This is only the 3rd regional. So there's still a lot of stuff that we have not seen anything of coming from previous metas. But there was one other sort of interesting thing of note, I feel like, in these teams. And that's that there's only 2 Glygars in the top 8.
That's correct. There is only 2, which both are not Shadow as well.
Yeah. Which is a bit of a turn of pace from the previous couple of regionals. And it's not like people have a ton of really hard counters to Gligar. Like, there's a couple of Alolan Sandslash, Shadow Alolan Sandslash running around. And like you've got Ice types as the main sort of counter. So there's every team, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the teams have an Ice type on it in the top 8, including, including both teams that have... Oh, no, that's not true. Including one of the teams that has a Gligar on it. And so I don't know if it's just a fear of that. If it's like, oh, people are going to start to counter Gligar, so I don't want to use it. Or if potentially just in Latin America, they're a little bit, they've got their own regional flavor and they're a little more sticking to the safer, more familiar picks, like the Registeels that, Registeel has come into the top 8 here again. You've got I guess there's even a purified Sableye that's sort of come back in, which I feel like has fallen a little bit out of favor in the last couple of months for sure. But I don't know, maybe we're gonna start to see some comebacks coming through as well.
Yeah, there's definitely, as I said in previous podcasts, a lot of variety that's been happening. So we've got our old familiars and just, yeah, a few others that are just coming back into it. But yeah, I agree in regards to the ice types because ice hasn't really been something that has, well, Alolan Sandslash has made a little bit of a nudge coming through previous seasons, but I think now it's just an interesting choice, given that nearly every team has a Medicham. So bringing in Ice type just seems to be so previously so vulnerable, but now that I suppose Gligar had its popularity or somewhat popularity, that Ice types are now being brought in as like the almost like the sixth mon. So yeah, it's really interesting.
But it's weird because also like you've got two people bringing in Frostlass, and so Frostlass is like the ice type that isn't weak to counter, which is certainly sort of the main reason to go that way. But you've got the four people bringing in the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, which I think the benefit of going Shadow in a lot of ways, obviously you get a massive amount of damage, but you also go down so much faster to counter users. You're already double super duper effective, if you will, to the counter damage because of the fighting weakness to steel and also to ice. And throw in a 20% shadow defense debuff, sort of bonus damage, then the Medicham sort of gets a lot less to farm. And if you're running a team that sort of has a pretty decent Medicham counter, for example, a Sableye, then maybe you're in a little bit of a decent spot to sort of just absorb that energy and try and take the Medicham down, even though you've sort of lost that Pokemon. And so I don't mind it as an idea, I guess. I mean, look, I'm a self battler, so obviously I've got some Frostlass bias coming through, but I am interested to see if this sort of flags a bit of a rise in Frostlass going forward. And maybe that forces a little bit more of a dark type presence just to make sure that Frostlass can sort of get handled.
Absolutely, and there has been I think every top 8 player did bring some sort of dark type or some sort of mon that did have a dark type move. So yeah, just really really interesting to see that as well.
Yeah, but obviously, coming out of it all, and as LNDS Rajif coming through not only as the first person from Latin America to qualify for the World Championships as the winner of the regional tournament, but also going through with style and taking out the 100% win rate. But what that does mean is that he does take the title from the person who previously held the record as the highest win rate in the world in a Pokemon Go regional, or well, in a Pokemon Go tournament, and that was YACOBERVITCH. Friend of the show. We've had him on before, and we sort of talked about his run back at OCIC. And you can go back and watch that episode as well. I want to say it was episode 3 of the podcast, right? No, 2. Is it the second one? It was the second one, I think. Wait,
I believe it was 2. But...
Yeah, because we did it in order, right? Brisbane was first, then OCIC in February, and then
Perth and Sydney.
Perth and Sydney. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We just need to ask admin.
yeah. We send that back to admin. We'll let them know. We'll get back to you. Or you can just go back and watch them all. I think that's the safest way. Just rewatch every episode. It's the only way. But or don't, because we're actually going to have YACOBERVITCH sort of coming back on to sort of give us his thoughts on the matter. YACOBERVITCH, welcome in to the G'day Battlers podcast for the second time, coming in as, the one and only OCIC champion. There's never going to be an OCIC again. Hopefully not true, but there's at least not an OCIC this year. We'll see about future years, but potentially the only ever winner of an OCIC. YACOBERVITCH coming in as the 96% win rate player, being dethroned by LNDS Rajif. How does it sort of feel to have that title taken away from you as the highest win rate trainer in the world?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those insights. That's all we have time for YACOBERVITCH. Thanks for coming on the podcast for the second time. I'm sure we'll sort of see you in a later episode as well. But there you have it, guys. The thoughts from the OCIC champion with respect to his title being taken away as the highest win rate trainer in the world. And such an amazing accomplishment as well.
Thanks, Yako.
Well, I mean, I think that's all we have time for. So, it's we'll see you in the next one, whenever it might be. Obviously, follow our socials, Twitter and YouTube, Academic Battlers. This was just a bit of a quick one, just a bit of an update, sort of on the current state of things. We've got the Brisbane Regional coming up next month as the sort of first regional of the Oceania region. Lundberger did mention in her recent YouTube video, I was going to say in her last YouTube video, at the time of recording her last YouTube video, where she talked about the different qualifications, sort of where people were up to on the championship point ladder. She mentioned that Oceania was on a different system and didn't have championship points. That's fine. It's not true. Just spreading misinfo on us poor forgotten Aussies. But apparently, you lose OCIC and everyone just stops paying attention, Debbie. I
know. But we do know Amanda has a little bit of bias. So I think that's we get forgotten, but specifically in Amanda's peripheral vision.
That her eyes are just deadlocked on that European landscape, and just everyone else falls to the wayside. That's fine. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Whatever. Wait, is this the second? I've only just realized. Are we I think it was last episode, or maybe it was the one before. We were gonna start. Oh, it's the one before that we were gonna try and start beef with Caleb from the Battle Cats podcast, and now we're gonna try and start beef with Amanda from Stadium Cast. Are we just who's next on the list? Do we hit up? I don't know.
We're doing a world tour,
yeah.
I guess
heard
Latin Americans are next.
No, that's true. So Latin American podcasters, watch out, because we found out that the best way to get traction is to start beef. So watch out, guys. We're coming. But yeah, that's the G'day Battlers podcast, episode 9, whatever we called it, edition. Edition. I don't know if we're ever going to at some point, maybe we never ditch the edition name. I don't know.
No, I think that's going to have to go on a t-shirt or some sort of apparel in the future.
G'day Battlers t-shirt edition. Of course. We'll get there. Don't forget to. I was going to say, like and subscribe. If I guess you can on YouTube. So you YouTube watchers, hit the buttons, and it'll definitely happen. That's how that works. It just sends it straight through the tubes and out of pops to admin.
How is admin?
I just assumed someone is running this thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe just it's message the G'day Battlers podcast Twitter and something will pop out. I don't know. Maybe admin will say hi. Admin hasn't paid me yet. I haven't got any paychecks from admin, so I don't know if maybe he just hasn't seen my messages.
Yeah.
They'll get to it.
Maybe you're unmuted. Just maybe ask HR. That might be the way to go.
Yeah. I'll just as soon as I find the email for G'day Battles HR, I'll shoot them a message. And then they can help me get in contact with the admin, whoever he or she may be. We'll find out. Or you'll find out next time on episode 10 edition, whatever we call that edition. Do we hit the stop button now, Debbie? I mean, I feel like we said all the things. do we go? Do we?
Thanks for listening, everyone.